All right, Chris, it's Friday. Let's light this candle.
Friday, Friday, Friday. What is that song? Who I don't even know what her name was.
I have no idea.
Whatever, Rachel or something. I don't know.
I
Some
have no
someone
idea, but
someone.
there was a stream that I watched every Friday. They started it with that, and it's like, why? Just let's go. Because they would start
Let's
their
just get
streams
into
on,
it.
on a timer about 5 minutes before, and they
Oh
played that
yeah.
over and over and over, and they were dancing in the background with it. It's like, come on, let's just. We're all here. Let's go.
Start.
Let's go. Let's get going.
Yeah. All right.
So
So I
welcome
won't
everybody.
poison anyone's ears anymore. Welcome everyone to On the Rocks, the e-commerce hour, the show where we talk about e-commerce and e-commerce adjacent information, specifically related to technology and tips to run your e-commerce business. I am Chris Guido, and he is Jay Kimmelman, and we're going to talk to you about all that good stuff today. Last week we didn't do anything because Jay was enjoying Chicago and a Zero Road show.
That's right.
So we may hear a little bit more about that later, potentially, maybe not. If you have been with us and also enjoyed the practice playbook, Jay did go into some details of the Zero Road show there. So
Well, you know what? There is something that's relevant to this audience, so we might get into that. So yeah,
yeah, there you go.
maybe,
Maybe.
between segments here.
Yeah, but the week before, I know it feels like it was just yesterday. I mean, it feels like it was forever ago now, but it was really only like a couple weeks ago. We talked about the election results and the impact that they could potentially have on e-commerce businesses. We talked about taxes, we talked about tariffs, and some of our other thoughts as you were getting prepared to head into 2025. This
And we
week,
still have no insight in what's going on there. So
yeah,
there's been no discussion. We don't have a Treasury Secretary picked, and we have no idea where they're going on tax. So, you know what? I like that. Let's go into 2025 not knowing what's going on. We'll figure it all out. But I'm really thinking we're not going to have any retroactive changes to 2024. I think whatever does happen will be forward looking. So, we'll see what happens. But you know what?
we
When we do, and
will.
it impacts you, when you're selling
Will.
online, we're going to let you know first.
We will be right here telling you all about it. As soon as we know it, you'll know it too. Even if we don't even know what the impacts are going to be, we'll probably tell you about it. We were talking about these tax changes that are going to go into effect in 2025 at the beginning of 2024.
It's only been
So
12
know
months
that
we've been talking about
it's
it
only
now.
it's only been 12 months that we've been talking about it. So we'll when something might happen or does happen, we'll be here to talk about how that can impact you. But this week we're not talking about that stuff. This week we're going to talk about a personal experience of mine through the e-commerce journey. Right, we're going to talk about a purchase that I made over the past week. Some specifics, some interesting things about that particular transaction set, and some things that I think from my experience would be interesting to look out for, or things to be aware of, or potential like areas of problems or areas of issues where they may cause frustration and that kind of thing for your customers. So some of it, some people don't care for it, some people do. Like we'll talk about the good and the bad of my recent e-commerce experience. But before we get to that, let's get to the news.
So what's going
Jay,
on?
Jay, we got all kinds of good news this week. Just I there continues to be just a load of AI related news every single time we turn around. And so I'll probably start just consolidating all the AI stuff into like maybe AI highlights or something, because listing off every single AI thing that happened is will take up a lot of space, and a whole bunch of them are kind of like not all that impressive, right? It's just
Right.
hey, another company, in this case like Bluecore, right? Bluecore acquired Albi for conversational e-commerce, right? So they added a conversation bot, right? Or Phase Zero, which is like they call themselves a composable commerce provider, which is a fancy sounding name, but they've announced that they have a commerce ready AI agent, right? Like everybody's doing this type of thing, and so I may not even some of the times that these happen, I may not even squeak them in here. But if there are some that are interesting or some that are unique, I may start including those in the news, or I may just come down with a rundown of, hey, if you use this particular product, know that you got some AI integrations coming. But before we get to those types of things, JCPenney, JCPenney did their own like internal AI study,
JC
right?
Penney's
So in
still
20,
around?
can you believe it? And
Really?
they're providing some like super interesting information, Jake.
Wow.
Listen to this. In 2022, they rolled out an AI skincare advisor, which I don't know anything about that. My skin is not flawless. We've got some flaws in here. Where my routine at night's not well refined. But what JC Penney found out through this AI skincare advisor bot, they this which was help it's there to help guide people to products and help them to like make product decisions and that kind of thing. But they believe JC Penney believes that having this product there resulted in a 23% higher average order value, which seems absurd. That's amazing. Like, that's the use case, right? That's the reason why all
Yeah.
these people are putting in these like agents and these other things. They want this 23% higher AOV, right? They want to be able to take advantage of highlighting for the customer, like what's this extra thing that you can use, or what can be extra valuable to you, and
Right.
and help you to feel good about it, right? You're buying more, but you feel good about it, and it's kind of like this is the staple use case, right? This is exactly the reason why people want to be doing this,
And
and
all it does
exactly
is
the
drop profit to our bottom line. So yeah, let's
that's
do
right,
it.
that's right, and
Anytime you
so
can increase AOV, it's win-win for everybody.
that's right, and so
Clients getting more product that they want, or the customer, I should say. We're getting more revenue, and that's a single visit. So it's one
yeah.
order to ship. That's less warehouse, labor. So yeah, win-win.
Yeah, right. And so I know I didn't really I think there's a JC Penney around DFW somewhere. Like I don't really remember seeing it. I know they went through a new like branding logoing thing or something where they were now JCP. But yeah, this study like is a good pointer to all those things you just talked about. In some other tech news, Google has updated maps. I think we may have even talked about that they were going to do this, but I think
You're
it's now
right.
been updated to have been updated all the way to incorporate specific product search. So you could look for a specific thing of I want X. Can you help me find it? And that's obviously like just an extra layer of iteration on how Maps was already working. This doesn't seem like a huge surprise, but it is super valuable, especially to e-commerce businesses or with like some retail footprint. Because now people are going to be able to find your product if it's in a Target or in a Walmart or somewhere like that. They'll be able to go to exactly that store just by searching it in Google Maps. So Google making their own search engine obsolete by just incorporating it in everything else. Who knows? Similarly, Google they didn't stop there with updates. We talked about how Google Lens was getting some changes, but Google Lens has updated and tailored their results so that they're specifically tailored to the store that you're in, which sounds like a really neat thing too. Again, not all that valuable for e-commerce retailers, but that being said, like if somebody's in a store and they see a thing that they like, right, and now you're like in the lens function because you're a competitor with a similarly priced good or something, maybe higher quality, something like that. This could be an opportunity for you to see some extra value there. So, but Google Lens is adding tailored results to the store you're in, which is super, super interesting.
So just a byproduct of your two Google stories there. So
Yeah.
I did hear this morning that there is some talk about forcing Google to sell Chrome because of the
Yeah.
monopolistic tendencies of Chrome and the Google search.
Yeah.
So, there are other tech companies you look at, like maybe Apple, and things along those lines. It's like, okay, if they're going to do this to Google, are they going to do that to Apple? Maybe separate the hardware and the software. I don't know, but I don't know. At this point, I don't see it monopolistic because I can change my search in anything to whatever search I want.
Yeah.
And honestly, there are a number of Chrome browsers, let's say
I use
Edge,
one. Yeah.
you
Brave.
know, right? And you can
Yep.
tell it which one to use. And on my phone, I use Safari, and I use Google search. So
Yeah.
that's what I want because it is the best after all.
Yeah.
Unless
That's
of course you're using AI and using Perplexity or OpenAI's ChatGPT search, but that's another story completely.
yeah.
So
Well, and that's what I was going to say too, right? Is like, they just built the best product, and sure, yeah. Now it's like monopolistic in the sense that everybody uses it because it's the best one.
right.
But that's like being upset with Kleenex because they made the best tissue. Like that's not their fault.
Well, I don't know.
They're the
about
best
that.
one. Well, maybe I guess. So. See, man, I bet there's somebody out there, some ghost out there, screaming at us of like, Jay, Chris, you're so wrong. Have you ever used XYZ search? It's the best one. DuckDuckGo or something.
Just I don't know if you've ever heard me use it, but I always refer to QuickBooks as the Kleenex of accounting software. People don't say I want a tissue; they say I want a Kleenex.
People don't say they want
So they use it
they say
for
want
tissues.
QuickBooks.
So it's like, hey, I need small business accounting, and they just say, hey, I need QuickBooks, and they don't know what they're asking for. They just want small business accounting, and they just happen to know the brand name, and that's what. So yeah. By the way, Xero, so much better than QuickBooks. Just saying, been there, done that.
The real Kleenex,
Right.
of or whatever.
Yeah.
Kirkland brand or something, like the highest of quality but affordable or something.
I mean, you search some of the products that Kirkland has, and they are top of class.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I mean, they're just labeled with the Kirkland label. They are made by the top providers of products. So
Could be.
Yeah, people look down on store brands. A lot of them are manufactured by the same.
Oh, I know.
Name brands just for a whole lot less.
That's right. That's right. I'm very familiar with that from my audit days. Some of the companies that I audited made some of the store brands, but it was like it's the same stuff.
Yeah.
Those things aren't tech news.
Right.
In other tech news, it seems like that's just news.
Yeah.
In other tech news, there are a couple different things that are happening where companies are connecting and partnering with marketplaces to help you to design your websites. So DreamHost is looking to do that to make setting up your website easy through by partnering with I don't even know how to say it. eSwid. What is the marketplace by Lightspeed? Jay, do you know what it's called? Equid,
I think. Yeah.
Equid. Yeah, I don't know. So whatever that marketplace is, DreamHost is partnering with them. Brizzy launched their own page builder for Shopify. So there's just like a lot of activity in this space where people are looking to couple with popular marketplaces in order to say, hey, I can help you make that marketplace better for you. So be on the lookout for that. There's definitely some opportunities there for you to find a partner that you like.
I gotta say, DreamHost is probably a couple years behind making it easy because I've used SiteGround and basically it's point and click and WordPress is up and running. I mean, it's done. It's so super simple.
Well, all right. Well, there you go. Maybe you don't even need them then. Maybe you don't. Maybe these products aren't all that helpful for people like you, Jay. But maybe for amateurs like me.
I've used DreamHost in the past, and I switched to GroundSite. But
okay. Yeah, and so maybe I'm sure DreamHost is looking to try to find a footing somewhere, and they just want to be the first person you see when you build on Lightspeed's marketplace. So, and then again, all the AI stuff, right? So I think it's important to also mention this, right? I saw that there was some Gartner research that indicated that AI and related tech will revolutionize the way that businesses understand buyer behavior. And if you've been watching this show for at all, you know that we already know that, and we've been talking about that for weeks, months. They also are talking specifically. Gartner's research was talking specifically about analyzing buyer behavior across channels, aligning around customer centricity, connectivity, agility, and intelligence. Right, that's the kind of the four things that they highlighted. And so that just hammers home the point that we continue to make every single week, and the point of maybe AI tech news, the AI tech news of the week, because everyone's going to be doing this. Everyone's going to be looking to help to make that customer experience centered and focused. And so I do think that we'll continue to see changes in the way that marketplaces work, so that they're focused more on that customer experience and allowing the customers to truly like dive deep into what's happening. And they're going to make it easier and easier and easier for people to ask those questions that they have, to understand more about products that they're looking at, and things of that nature. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about my experience with that this past week, in later in the show. Also out in the AI space, TikTok, they launched an AI video platform. So again, this was called Symphony Creative Studios. I think that this is that's targeting video content creation for businesses or for creators or for agencies, and it sounded like or very similar to the thing that Meta was just doing. So again, all these big companies want you to be able to make good content on their platform, because engagement on their platform is what drives value for them as well. And so if you're able to make good content on their platform, that helps them too. And so because of that, they're continuing to invest in making that easier and effective for you, the user. TikTok's just the next one in line here. I did also see that Alibaba, and we'll talk a little bit more about Alibaba later, but Alibaba has introduced an AI search tool for small businesses in Europe and in the Americas. And so it sounds like Alibaba is doing the age-old Chinese technique of taking the American technology, breaking it down, and using it for themselves. Not in any kind of negative way. I don't mean to disparage that strategy. But Amazon just did this like a couple weeks ago, and then Alibaba doing the same thing right behind it is like totally reasonable. Again, everyone's doing it anyway. I shouldn't be like Chinese companies doing this. Like everybody's doing this. It's not unique to China.
Yeah, Shemu's going to be doing it soon too.
Yeah.
And I'm just combining Shein and Temu together into one name. So
I can't.
Yeah.
You ruined my joke. My joke is coming later, Jay.
Yeah, I know.
Because Shemu's coming up later in the news and notes.
Well, I haven't read down that far yet.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
That's why I saw it.
Yeah. It's some other just general, again, they're just some like conversation bots and AI tools like that are just that people are introducing. Commerce IQ is launching one called Nexus. It's an AI assistant for commerce, right? It's that same type of thing. And interestingly, Popcorn AI got about a $500,000 investment for their conversational commerce tool, which again is that next layer of what that digital commerce is going to be like, that e-commerce is going to be like, where you're interfacing and being able to have a conversation like it's a salesperson with an AI tool right there on the internet. So it's where we're headed. It is going to change a little bit of the way that companies work. So it's something that you want to understand who the players are in the space, who's doing a good job of it, and Popcorn must be doing well enough at least to get $500,000. So good job by Popcorn.
And I was doing some research this morning for future episodes, and
yeah.
I was looking at the use of AI in e-commerce, and so and probably in our next episode, we're going to be talking AI use in customer service and support, as well as marketing and sales. And a big part of that is the conversational bots. So so it's funny seeing those four listed there, and we're going to start talking about those in particular. Yes.
Yeah.
Not those, but those topics.
That idea.
Coming out soon.
Right. And it's just there. It's just everywhere. Yeah. And again, that may be why. Again, we'll talk about some that look interesting or particularly, worth a look. But there's going to be so many of them that it's going to be hard to even keep track, I think, at this point. So know that there's continued investment throughout the e-commerce infrastructure in. Particularly in conversational AI bots and those types of tools, but in AI more broadly as well. And that is this week's tech news. And now we'll move on to just your basic e-commerce news. And like I mentioned, Jay spoiled it for me. Amazon's trying to take on Shemu. Um, so
Sorry.
Amazon introduced Amazon Haul, which sounds like a low cost product, which was directly intended to compete with Temu and Shemu, which are those providers that are bringing in low cost goods to folks. That's
There
it.
it is.
They're Amazon Haul. It's live,
Yeah.
ready to go, ready for you to
I haven't
take
seen
it.
anything over
Take it
$5.
home.
Oh, there's something for $10. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and
I
so
mean,
again, it's low cost marketplace, lots of
yeah.
volume. Definitely Amazon's intention to compete in this space. And I think it's really interesting, Jay. We talked about this outside of the show, but um, like it's really interesting that Amazon has targeted this market, because I kind of always just assumed that this market segment was like a low profitability one.
Right.
But Amazon certainly feels they did enough to come up with their own idea here. They felt threatened enough by it to come up with their own competitor to this, which means that either A, I'm wrong, which is definitely possible, or B, they were threatened enough that they wanted to also compete in that space because they were feeling like they were losing business in some other way.
Or they're feeling they need to get into the drop shipping business and they're using it
Yeah,
as a
maybe.
loss leader, buying it from Alibaba and reselling it.
Could be. Could be.
I don't
That's
know.
possible, I guess.
Yeah.
That's possible. They targeted. They realized they had a gold mine on their hands,
Right.
or maybe they're trying to get ahead of tariffs, because I
Maybe.
think
Yeah.
or the new like low load tariff exclusion that's going to go away, or at least it's been talked about going away, right? And they see like a huge market share there that they're going to be able to gobble up. Like that's
Hmm.
also possible. So.
Yeah.
Anytime Amazon does something, I typically assume it's a good idea, which is maybe some folly, right? But I always assume that they're like well thought out because every single step they seem to take like just is wins every time.
Well,
So
Amazon does a lot of that, as does Google. And we going back to the tech news earlier. So
yeah,
Google will release something, and then all of a sudden, 3 months later, discontinue it, not even mention it.
yeah,
So I bet Amazon does a lot of the same thing, and a lot of these tech
yeah.
companies are doing that. So
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure that's true. And speaking of doing things, Amazon must have had some success. The weather got cooler out in Phoenix, I guess. The drones can get back up in the air,
yeah,
because they're expanding their drone delivery in the Phoenix area to some of those one day customers. And so, despite having shut it down while the weather was hot, looks like the drones are working great in whatever like wonderful weather there is in the Phoenix area right now. It's prime drone time, and Amazon's taking advantage. So again, if you live in the Phoenix area, know that they've expanded out into, I think it was the West Valley is what they said. I don't know what that means except for that it's the west side of Phoenix, and it's kind of cool to get a drone drop. That's kind of fun.
yeah,
You
for
can get your
sure.
delivery in hours, is what the article I read around this said. Um, so if you're in the Phoenix area, know that that's something they're continuing to work on. And then of course, I think there's no question that like once Amazon is successful in this, and feels really comfortable with this is going to be a really popular delivery source going forward. And so once they've got
Most
it kind of
definitely.
figured out, it's just a matter of time before anybody's going to be able to uh, get a drone delivery, which also means like for e-commerce providers that aren't listed on Amazon, or that have a lot more of their volume through other channels, like that means you have to be really thoughtful about your delivery timing, because you're going to run into some potential issues where Amazon once again is just going to be so fast that may be very popular with your customers if they really really want your product. So know that that's continuing to expand, and at some point, someone that's not Amazon is going to do this drone delivery stuff too, and and that's going to be then an option as well. So you're just going to have continued delivery options, and this one's going to be high speed for sure. Um, in in what I kind of felt like was really really big e-commerce news, but with a really like boring sounding title, like a boring headline, but really big news. Alibaba, who I just talked about before, this is again, if you're not familiar with Alibaba, Alibaba is effectively like Chinese Amazon, where they deliver there domestically in China, but they have combined their domestic and global e-commerce divisions, and what that says to me is they're ready to go international. Alibaba's ready to make some moves. If they're combining those two things together, they're looking at that as one business unit, which means that they're now that's something that's coming. And so I've never looked at Alibaba to try to buy anything. I don't know if it's even available here in the United States. It might not be.
Sure it is.
I'm sure it probably is. Yeah, it's AliExpress or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and so that it's just another marketplace. But again, this one is one that's a big one. Like Alibaba is gigantic in China, and and they're looking to do something. You don't combine your domestic and global together if you're not starting to think about your business more as a global business than a Chinese only one. So that looks like a small headline, but seems like, at least if when we look back on it in 10 years or something, that's going to be a big deal.
Well, competition for Amazon and Walmart.
That's right. Speaking of our friends at Walmart and competition, they have been trying over many quarters to reduce their delivery costs, and who hasn't? Let's be real here. Delivery costs are really high, and this article that I read said Walmart was successful in this. They've dropped their delivery costs by 40%, which just seems like a unfathomable number. That's a gigantic decrease. And so while you may not have the buying power of Walmart, know that there's some opportunity, I think, to find some savings in your shipping models, where you can identify a little bit better way to do it.
I'm curious how they're doing that. Any idea?
I didn't read every single little piece of this particular article, and so I don't know exactly what they were doing. I know that they were focusing on different areas of cost savings and trying to streamline some of the processes. So,
Okay.
So I think this may have a lot to do with like better fulfillment work, better load management, like route management, like all that kind of stuff could potentially be part of that. But I did not read every little piece of how they did that. But maybe I will now and go back and report back next week.
I'm really curious because
Yeah.
I purchased from Walmart, and groceries and whatever, and use their delivery for that. And at the same time, you purchase some goods. If it's in your store, they will deliver it the same day.
Oh yeah.
And they're doing it through local delivery. I mean, drivers going out to. I think that's more expensive to do that.
Yeah, you would think so. So maybe
Right.
again, maybe
So
that's
I'm really interested in that story. So
yeah, so it sounds like I'm gonna have to go back and read that article a little more in depth, and report back next week on how Walmart, or in a couple weeks or whenever we get to talking again, of how Walmart's been successful in dropping their costs.
Yeah, for sure.
Walmart's big red circle friends at Target are expected to quadruple their order processing output. So speaking of identifying an opportunity here, Target has invested a lot in their fulfillment network to support this growth, and are also leaning into their like stores as hub strategy. So just like you just talked about, Jay, with Walmart, like if there's that thing that's right there in your store, it looks like Target's looking to centralize each store as a place where things can come to then be spit back out. So
I'm curious about that because I tend to order from Target and have delivery from there.
Yeah.
And
I
same
wonder how
thing,
they do it.
deliver from the store, but there are often items that aren't in the local store that get shipped.
Yeah. Right.
And this might tie into your story later, so I'm going to wait on that. But
no, that's fine.
Ordinarily, except if you have a hurricane coming, orders usually come pretty well from both Walmart and Target. So
man, it looks like Target again they're looking to just the quadruple. That works. That's a big change. I mean, Target is pretty big, so
but if you look at that, you have you do online ordering, and the stores have it. it's a way to get it in your consumer's hands faster.
Yeah, I think that's true.
So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. And again, they're working on they specifically, this article I did read in a little bit more in depth, and because quadruple sounded like a gigantic number, and so they've invested in their fulfillment process, try to make that streamline the warehouse. They've also added warehouses, and then again they're doubling down a little bit on and leaning into that stores as a hub strategy of trying to make sure that they've got a good place for people to go to get the products that they need. Mm-hmm. So definitely happening. The final piece of just your more generalized e-commerce news also has to do with shipping, so not surprisingly there. Our friends at FedEx, just in time for the holidays, they have introduced a couple different tools to help make visibility for shipping a little bit more clear for folks. That includes introducing a map view in their app, which sounds like exactly what it sounds like. I mean, it's like, hey, where's the truck? Or, as well as some picture proof of delivery attempts, like they got a little like the Amazon guy, right, where it comes up to your house and takes a picture, like FedEx is doing that now, and so again, like we've talked about several times before, those types of technology things, even if it's just taking a picture of your delivery and sending it to you, those types of technology advancements, once somebody does it and it's successful, it's just going to start to proliferate, right? For sure. And so I do think again, Jay, like we've talked about in the technology space, like knowing that these people, not necessarily that you are using this conversational AI bot, but knowing that people are continuing to build it, is just a reminder that like it's only a matter of time before that comes to you. And so this is true with FedEx. They're catching. I think UPS may have already had this map view. Mm-hmm. I know I recently had a UPS delivery and was like, well, show me the map. I was like, oh, okay, let's go. So FedEx trying to make their product a little more appealing as well. And that Jay was the e-commerce news of the week, or 2 weeks really. All right. Before we get to the general discussion, Jay, what's it? Water today?
It is water today, yeah.
For me, it's habanero honey. Oops, over here.
There you go.
There we go. Habanero honey. Before we started, it's from High Hops. Before we started the show today, Jay, I told you this was one of the last ones from my beer drop box that I forgot to change before it shipped, and so it's been sitting in the fridge for a while. Because habanero honey is not really like that's not typically my profile. But I had quesadillas for lunch, and so I was like, well, you know what? There's not going to be a better time. A little quesadilla flavor still in my mouth. Might as well go with the habanero honey.
There you go.
And if I can make it through it, because the habanero is not a joke. It is in there. If I make it through that, we're going to elaborate metaphor, a nice cool looking can again, like we talked about before. Some cool looking cans, really appealing to me. This one's a New England style IPA, New England style pale ale. So
I gotta say, a lot of the cans that you display are really, really funky.
Yeah, pretty looking can. It's a really cool one. Elaborate metaphor. From Burlington Beer Company. I assume that's out of Vermont, Burlington. So that is it. And it is. And so there you go. That's my beer for the day. And so on to our main discussion. So Jay, on Wednesday, I turned 41. This is my birthday. 40.
Feliz cumpleaños.
Gracias. Mi cumpleaños estuve. No, that can't be right. Aburrida. My birthday was boring this year. I went bowling because it was Wednesday, and that was what I did for my birthday. But a thing that I did on the 19th, the day before my birthday, because I knew my birthday was coming up, and there's been a problem that I've been trying to resolve in my room here. Everyone can see. I have plants, and they're everywhere.
They're very problematic.
And that part's not problematic, but they just like to hang. And because they just like to hang, eventually they get to the floor. Eventually they get to the ground. When they get to areas where there's not that much sun, they don't leaf out. And I was like, man, you know what I need to do? I need to find some trellis or something to help make sure that my plants can find the light properly. And and so I'd been doing research leading up to my birthday to try to like find a good like I wanted to maybe do like a design on the wall or something like that. But in my research, I found a company that's called the name of the company, and shout out to them, free advertising for you guys. They're called Super Trellis, and it looks like I'm not gonna lie to you. It looks like our background here today is like a Super Trellis background because they make these little hexagons that snap together and can be attached to the wall or stuck in a pot, so your plant can go up in this trellis. But it was really clear to me that they are exactly the type of people that we're talking to today. They are a typical modern e-commerce business. They have a very certain set of products. They have a very certain set of stuff. And so what I wanted to talk about today was to talk through that experience, to highlight some of the things that Super Trellis is doing that I was like, that's unusual, or that's interesting to see, or like that's really neat, or really helpful, and talk through like what that could what like how that might be able to like influence other e-commerce businesses or help them, or at least give them our insights on this. And so the thing the first thing that you notice, right, anytime that you're googling something and you find like a company that feels like, hey, that might be the one that we're looking for, right, the first thing that you notice is their website. And Super Trellis is like they have a pretty regular looking website, but there's a couple of things that they had that I thought were really really useful. Um, the first one is that they, on their facts page, like they connect to their YouTube channel. Now it's clear that this husband and wife team are like, just they're very clearly like creating a product for the first time, and their like YouTube videos are very like ordinary, and that makes them very like like easy to interact with, right? They're definitely not like super professionally done, but they tell you exactly what you need to know. They're well produced, and then like they give you the information that you need. And so they show you how to use the product. They show you some things that you can do with the product, and they have like a set of like 20 different videos of like, hey, here's where we did this thing, or here's where we did that thing, or here's some things you need to think about around this. And so integrating and incorporating your YouTube channel with your website, I'm not gonna lie, it sold me the product. So it's really really powerful when you can sit there and you can actually see how it's used and understand like also like the people that use it, right? So right there on the facts page, Jay, um, they're on that facts page.
I also
Yeah.
noticed
Oh
when I
yeah.
move my mouse on here, I've
Yeah.
never seen that before.
Yeah. It is. The banner is like really large.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
they
take it
tell
they
you
have
about,
free shipping over $50.
yeah, right, and two bonus hexagons. Um, whatever, and I'm not sure what the color they are or anything like that. So this is, I think, is like a typical facts page, right? It like highlights for you like what are the different things, or what happens, or what are those things that you might need to know, right? A facts page is a really important one, right? Um, yeah, and so they highlight some of these things that would be important to like any person who's going to buy, right? Um, they also have this contact page, and it's just contact at Super Trellis. It's there, like down below there, or you can find them on Instagram or Facebook. Their blog is actually where I went to go find, which is up at the top again in the banner at the top. Their blog is what actually linked to the guides, and so that like these are the YouTube videos I'm talking about. That guy appears to be the owner. That's my guess anyway. And he and the girl that's there in the video on the left, I think that's his wife, or girlfriend or something like that. And they seem to be doing the business together. And so in the introductory video, they they talk about the product together. I wanted to build a wall mount, and so I specifically clicked through that wall mount basics video that's right there. and watch the video. It's about 3.5 minutes long, and he talks through all the different parts and components of the wall mount kit and how to use them. And and so it was super helpful to be like, okay, what's the size of this? Because you could see it like in a guy's hands, right? And you could understand like how it was working, and what to expect when you actually got the product. And it was interesting because as I was reading reviews, some of the reviews about this product were like, it can take a little while to assemble, right? Because you have to click all the little pieces together. And he's open and honest about that right there in the video of like, hey, sometimes this can take a little bit of time because you have to like click them all together. But but having that information accessible that way was really, really useful to me as a consumer. And really helpful in helping me to make a decision on how or whether to buy the product. What do you think, Jay?
No, I mean that's super helpful, and whenever you can get a video on your site, it's going to help promote your products. The only thing
Right.
that I would say is looking at this, they have three things on their blog, and
Mm-hmm.
nothing's been posted in over 2 years. So I
Yeah, it's
would
been a
just
while.
put some fresh content out there and help. By doing so, it'll help get people there. That's all.
That's right.
It looks good though. I mean,
Yeah.
interesting
I mean,
site for sure.
it's an interesting site. And so then there were some other things, right? And you saw it when Jay first shared the page. Down on the bottom right hand corner, there was the like your typical, hey, if you want 10% off on your first order, you can get
Yeah.
on our email list. Any e-commerce site that doesn't have this is like probably behind the eight ball. Jay, have you run into many like many websites or e-commerce sites that aren't offering that like introductory discount of something or another to
Yeah,
get
not at
folks in the
all.
door? Yeah,
Yeah, immediately get in there and get on that mailing list, and
that's right. That's right. Another interesting thing that I saw, and I don't know whether this was just fortunate timing, or if they just have priced their products a little bit too high and are intentionally like making it look like a discount. But everything across the entire platform was 25% off at the time that I was looking. It didn't matter what the product was; it was all 25% off. Um, Maybe I'll regret that in a week when everything is 50% off or something like that. but at least at the time that I was looking, every basically any component that they had some discount around it, and I think that they're like there's interesting like dynamics of that. And the first one is like as a consumer, right? It made you like a little bit more interested in buying now because
yep.
you don't know if that discount's going to go away. Now I'm typically one to be a little bit like I don't know what the right word is. What is it when you're like consistently like uncertain about that of like is this
Pessimistic.
really the last day? Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't know about
Pessimistic.
pessimistic's maybe not the right word, but like
Yeah.
I just don't always believe those
Right.
discounts as being like really about to expire, that kind of thing. And
Well,
so
I mean,
I
you're you're told to use emotion in the purchasing,
yeah,
and by marking it down, you get a perceived deal that you're getting, and
right.
then by saying limited time offer,
Hmm.
you're kind of forcing the issue, trying to put a little urgency in the purchasing. So
That's right.
coming up, and well, actually, it already started. The Black Friday on Amazon
Oh
already
yeah,
started yesterday, but Black Friday is Black Friday, and
yeah.
that bleeds into Cyber Monday. So you have the Black Friday deals, which turn into Cyber Monday deals, which sometimes turn into Cyber Week deals.
That's right.
So
Or
do you
Black
want to
November.
push that button and buy it now? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and so in this case, like I felt like I did the like rough mechanics of math
Yeah.
across a bunch of different products. I stalked the webpage for like about a week leading into this actually to try to see like what was really happening here because this wasn't a purchase I had to make, but it was one I was interested in making. Um, and and the discounts didn't change; like they were the same the whole time. So
So I have a question for you. you're looking at something there. Did you put it in your cart and walk away?
No, and
Okay.
maybe I should have. Maybe I should have, because you're right that a lot and a lot of e-commerce people do this, right? Like if you put something in the cart and then you walk away, you may get that follow up email of, "Hey, you forgot to put this in here. You need an extra little bonus to get that out of your cart."
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe I left some money on the table by not doing that. But no, I don't typically like to put them in my cart because I don't. I'm already going to get enough like spam around it anyway. I think in my mind, right? I'm going to get the Duolingo ads or whatever, right, for whatever product I'm sitting around on. I don't.
So did you get the retargeting ads in social?
So not for Super Trellis. Not for
Okay.
Super Trellis.
Because now I've
No,
gone
wait,
to
that's
it.
not true.
It's like,
That's not true. So not for Super Trellis on Duolingo. I did get them on Facebook though. So
Okay.
even though I like spend very, very small amounts of time on Facebook, I have scrolled through and seen Super Trellis there now, where I had never even heard of the company like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
So
you don't need to spend a lot of time on the site for that to happen. It happens
yeah.
pretty much a second you go in there, that is sent and you're done.
Yeah, so again, I think that the discounts were appealing, right? Whether that's their real base price and it's just a scam. Like I will never know. Actually, I probably will, because my guess is that I'm going to really love this product and I'm probably going to buy it again. And so I'm
Yeah.
probably going to, and we'll talk a little bit more about why that might be here in a second too. But I will continue to watch the website, right, and check and see what's happening, right? Yeah, there you go. It's already happened to you.
Already got it. Yep.
There you go. That's it.
There you
Super
go.
Trellis. And that is the lady, right? That's the
Yeah.
the wife or whatever,
Yeah.
right? And that's one of their products, the hex pole, that I'm guessing is like a high margin product or something.
Yep. That's
Because
it. Yeah.
it's very, very popular right there on the I have seen that ad as well, Jay.
You know, it's amazing when you do so much research and looking at things.
Yeah.
It's like what shows up. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we talked about this on our other show with accountants and taxes and things like that. And
Yeah.
you know, you search for tax planning, and now that's all I see. And now I'm going to start seeing about this here from Super Trellis on there. So you know, it's changing it. You know, I won't be seeing about tax planning and who's my CPA working for anymore. But you know, that's
another.
good.
You want to be retargeted again, Jay? My daughter, she's 2.5.
Yeah.
Just turned 2.5, and so for Christmas, Kayla and I, and so Ellen, if you're watching this, which I know you're not, but if you're watching this, you're getting a bike this year, girly. And so we've been doing some bike research, and so the ads that I do get all the time actually on Duolingo are for Guardian bikes, which is probably the bike they were going to buy. So that definitely. Retargeting's no joke. In this case, it was completely worthless because I was going to buy the product anyway. I was continuing to monitor the webpage even without the retargeting, and so that ad money was wasted on me. But at the same time, it's not wasted on everybody.
So have you purchased that bike yet on GuardianBikes.com?
No. That one's not as worthless because we have not yet made that purchase.
Gotcha.
And I don't know that we're necessarily going to buy Guardian. I think we should, but we haven't fully vetted out the research here. So we'll see what my wife and I will make that decision together, I think. But the every night Guardian ad when I'm doing my Spanish work is a good reminder. It's a good reminder that oh, that's right. My daughter is almost 3, and she I would love it if she was able to learn to ride a bike in one day. And which if you get Guardian and you're retargeting, you'll understand that reference a lot better.
So do a little research for me. Go ahead and put something in the cart tonight.
On Guardian?
I want to know on Monday.
Okay. Yeah.
Cart
Let me go.
Email.
I'll have to find a bike and drop it in there, and then and then leave it there over the weekend and see what happens. That will be a good fun experiment. And everyone will report back to you on that as well, on how that goes, because I do think that will be interesting. So again, obviously there's a lot of stuff to talk about in an e-commerce environment experience here. The next one for me, I like I said, it was my birthday. It was like, you know what? I'm going in. I'm doing it. this 25% discount just has like kept on going. Can't really expect that they're going to like discount it significantly more for Black Friday. And I really just want to like make progress on this stuff behind me, right? I really want to like make that happen. They have a colorful like pride pack that you can like make lots of pretty colors, which fits very well with the theme of my wall. Like if you haven't noticed it, it's very like colorful. That going to be perfect. The colored hexagons are going to be just great. And once I saw them, I was like, you know what, that's definitely the product I want. I just need to figure out how many I need and how I want to do it and when I want to buy. So I made the decision. I think it was on Tuesday night to buy. And their payment processing was easy. If I remember right, they had Shop Pay. That was what came up first as an option. But I don't remember all the details of my credit card, Jay. And so because of that, I actually use GPay because GPay, I have an Android phone. And so GPay holds all my credit card information there. And so I could edit to GPay without having to have all the same information. And so the payment processing was easy, and it was easy because there were lots of options. And so we've talked about that several times before. Is you don't want your customers to just have one choice. You want to give them a little bit of flexibility. I don't remember whether there was like an affirm option or something like that, right, where I could have paid for it over time. There probably was, but I did not choose it. I went ahead and bit the bullet now.
So Shop Pay, normally it would recognize you and send you like a code to your phone. It didn't do that?
No, it gave me that option.
Okay.
But I had already received my 10% of email thing, so I knew I wanted to add a discount code.
Gotcha.
So I didn't get ahead of myself by just going ahead and processing my Shop Pay order without entering my discount code. I did do that one time incorrectly on Vuori. where I put in the shop pay code, and all of a sudden it's like, your order's on the way, and I was like, but wait, well, I'm not ready. What happened?
Right.
So I had a tainted shop pay experience once before because of that on Vuori. So I am hesitant to put that code in so quickly. Because again, I want to make sure I get all my discount codes in. I want to make sure I get all the other information correct and all of that stuff as well. And so that's the payment processing options. It was easy to change between the two, which was nice, and it was pretty well painless. Like I said, I could use GPay. I could do it right there from my phone. I didn't have to go downstairs and find my credit card and figure out what the CVV was, or try to remember like which one goes with what card. I don't remember, like all that nonsense. So I didn't have to worry about that, which was nice.
I have a solution for that too.
Do you?
Yes. One
What's
password.
That? That's probably
Put
good.
your cards in there. Saves them. Keeps them secure.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah.
That is a good idea.
Yeah.
That is a good idea. So I did all of that. It was late. It was late at night, so I wasn't expecting much, right? And then at 7:55, right at the first thing I see in my inbox, basically in my personal inbox on my birthday, was "Happy birthday! Your order's on the way." Which I was like, yeah, what? Let's go, America! This is amazing. I can get the thing I want so fast. Only my order wasn't on the way. And this was a really disappointing thing because I was so excited about it. I was like, yeah, order shipping, let's go. So I clicked through, and UPS was like, we don't have it. And I was like, well, that isn't what I thought was going on at all. And so that's definitely a thing to watch out for. People, especially when you're making a purchase like this one, right, where it's just kind of a fun purchase for you, it is definitely not a necessity in any kind of way, right? This is a luxury purchase of mine. Like, I did not have to make this purchase. I did it for myself. I was excited about it. I'm still excited about it, truly, but I was excited about it, and to see that my order was on the way was super exciting. But to click through that fulfillment link for it to just tell me, JK, your order's not really on the way. It was.
So, in
sad.
reality, your order was on the way. They processed it in the warehouse.
That's true.
And they created the label. And Shopify is like, hey, this order's processed. Let's tell Chris it's done. And
Yeah.
really what they need to do there is put a time delay on that email.
Yeah.
Because odds are that order will ship that day. It's going to get picked up by UPS or it was UPS?
It was UPS, yes.
They'll pick it up that day. It will then get tagged in or scanned in on the truck, and
Yep.
it'll be on its way, and you'll get it. It's like I understand where you're coming from because I place an order and it's like, oh, it's supposed to be here in 2 days, and it's like, oh wow, that's it's already shipped. It's like 2 hours later. It's like it's already shipped. And it's like,
It's
oh,
amazing.
crap. It's just processed. And then you
Yep,
check it the
just
next
me.
day, and it still hasn't been picked up. And it's like, come
yep.
on. Let's go.
I'm
Let's get
familiar
this
with that,
out.
Jay, because
Yeah.
that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
So it wasn't
Because
until
you're super
yesterday.
excited. You're waiting for this
was-
to come. And yeah, so.
Yeah, and it's just defeating. So, so that may be a thing for e-commerce retailers to like consider coordinating with Shopify around, or at least talking to Shopify about. Right? Shopify.
Well,
is
there's an
maybe
app you
opportunity
can put
for
on Shopify to delay things. And I
Yeah.
haven't looked to see if you could do that specifically with
Yeah.
emails like that, but that's what I would look
Right.
at for sure.
Yeah, because that it really is like disappointing.
Yeah.
when you're so excited for it. This was also a super interesting thing because I noticed in the fulfillment process once my order finally did actually ship, which I think was yesterday morning. It's coming from Buffalo, and I don't think of Buffalo as like a central hub or anything. And so this is an interesting thing to think about because you do want to like keep in mind and remember like especially like if Buffalo is maybe your only fulfillment option, like that's one thing, right? If that's just or if it's the one that's right down the street from you or whatever it might be, right? Like that's different. That's a different issue. But if you're big enough that you're in multiple locations, or if you're doing logistics like that, like you want to know that your third party warehouse, which again maybe I have assumed that is what's being used here, because of the product, but I like that's so far away. Like there's got to be some spots in the middle somewhere that could help to alleviate some of those shipping costs, especially since I did order more than $50 and my shipping is free. So whatever it costs to ship from UPS from Buffalo to Dallas, I assume I'm not in one of the like lighter ranges there. Assumed to get from Buffalo to Dallas is maybe zone 3 or something like that. So like be aware of where your products are shipping from. Understand who your partners are in that area, and how you can best find someone to service. Because if you're like Buffalo is your only option, like if you're shipping to LA from Buffalo, like that seems bad.
Yeah, my thought is they are self-fulfilling that order from their garage or warehouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
Maybe, and so if that's the case, right, then that's a different issue. But that also means that you probably need to do some like really real diligence around like maybe micro targeting your free shipping, or if you can, because free shipping all the way across the United States is pretty far. It might be pretty expensive. So anyway, I thought that was interesting as well. And then finally, I thought a couple other things were interesting. So about 5 minutes after I got the email that said my order was fulfilled, right? I got a second email that said, "Hey, congratulations! Because of your purchase, you got another discount." And so I got a post-sale extra discount, right? And it was nothing either. Like it's a $20 discount on my next purchase, which is like just substantial. And especially when most of their products are like $40, it's like half off. It's a pretty great deal. Now, of course, I'd probably have to get to like $50 shipping to get it for free, for $50 to get my shipping for free. And I don't know whether that's before the discount or not, but that's something that I'll almost certainly explore, because there are other parts of I didn't get every single thing that I could potentially want there, and so this is that post-sale discount is definitely appealing, right? And as you can hear me talking about, it has already sold me on another purchase. I will buy again eventually, I'm sure, and it's just a matter of time. um, so I mean, they work, right? There's a reason why people do them. And so if you're not doing something like that, it's probably worth considering, especially again if you have a product that's of this kind of nature, right? It's really a good way to incentivize people to come back.
So I have a little change up on that little store there. So
Ooh.
last November, I was in Phoenix, and my driver Ryan Blaney won the championship at the NASCAR
Oh
championship
yeah,
weekend.
sure. Yeah,
The night he won, I ordered a championship hat and another piece of merch,
yeah.
and it said it would be
Mats or something.
delivered on November 14th, 15th, whatever date it happened to be.
Yep.
So November 14th came. I got the notifications. It shipped. On the 14th, I get my package, and I open it up, and it had one item in it. And
Oh no.
about 2 hours later, I get an email. Sorry to let you know, but your hat is out of stock. It'll be shipped in January. So that hat right up there on the corner ended
Uh-huh.
up showing up in April.
Oh yeah. All right.
Yeah. So
Nice.
don't set the wrong expectation.
Yeah.
Try to, if you are going to be out of stock, let them know before the product ships, because here I was, I really wanted the hat more than I
Excited,
wanted.
right?
Yeah. And because I was going somewhere that next weekend and I wanted to wear that hat.
Yeah.
I was going to my favorite dance competition with
Yeah.
my dance dads, and wanted to wear
Right.
a hat, and ended up I didn't get it, so didn't have it,
Sad,
and I was a
right?
little
Totally
disappointed.
understand.
And then when it said January, I'm like, okay, it'll come right after Christmas, whatever. But it
Right.
came
You
like
had to make
tax
some more.
day.
That's wild.
Yeah. So
Wild.
for what it's worth.
And that is a another reminder, especially at this time of year, right?
Yep.
That if you're going to stock out, or if you're expecting to stock out, like communicate to your customers, like let them know before they have that anguish. Because Jay, I'm gonna guess that wherever you bought that, freehats.com or whatever it was, like you're probably not using that website anymore.
Yeah, it was
Or,
fanatics.com, and
oh, it
I
was
will never buy
Fanatics.
anything
Yeah,
from Fanatic again.
yeah. So
Yeah.
be better, Fanatics.
Yeah, and basically
So
they have all of the merch shops in. It's in all of the stadiums, and
oh, I know. Yeah,
so
Fanatics
yeah,
is who I have. I get plenty of emails from Fanatics as well,
yeah,
so I'm very very familiar with their product.
yep.
Um,
Not a fan.
the last thing that I thought was super interesting, and I think this is relatively unique, because I have never had this happen before, but maybe 12 hours after my fulfillment my fulfillment notice, I got another email from the people at Super Trellis, and they said, "Hey, thanks for buying our product. We want you to join our Facebook page for," it's called Super Trellis Heroes, where you can see what other people are doing with the product, and you can interact with those people on Facebook. Just join and use your order number, and you can be part of the group. And so I'd never seen that before, and so that's like a super interesting feature. It would be better if now 3 days later or whatever it's been, I was actually admitted to that group, which I'm not. I just checked right before we went live here, and I'm still not in that group. It'd be better to like act if you're gonna send that message, right? If your email chain or your email, like whatever those things are called, the cadences of that, if it includes that email, like make sure to monitor that a little bit better, I think, because it was another time, right? I'm excited. I want to see. Oh yeah, man, can't wait. What should I do? How should I make my trellis wall happen? And now I'm just like, well, one day I'll figure it out, I guess. So we'll see. But I do think that is a great idea, because there's a whole variety of things that you're going to do there, right? you're going to reinforce your product because you're going to allow that person, especially if they were truly interested in it, you're going to allow them to continue to see iterations of how your product can be utilized, which means that they're going to continue to have interest in your product. So this is a really, really good idea. And I just actually want it to work. Like, put me in the group already. Come on, Super Trellis, put me in there.
So, full disclosure, I used to run Facebook groups. There are ways to automate that. Duh. I mean, reach out. Super Trellis, reach out to us at High Rock. We can help you automate that.
Jay, I'm not going to lie to you. This is kind of funny because obviously Super Trellis is an e-commerce business, and I did find the videos with the two owner folks like really endearing.
Yeah.
I actually think I might just send contact at Super Trellis an email and be like, hey, who does your accounting? I'd love to talk to you guys more about this.
Right.
Because yours is a company that I want to be associated with.
Yeah, for sure.
And because the Facebook group has 650 people in it, right? It's not like a small group, but it's not like humongous either. And the product is relatively unique. I don't know how often people buy it, but they sold $1,300 worth of a certain product back in June, where they were raising funds for a nonprofit. It's right there on the page,
Nice.
Associated with those products. So, like, it sounds like a really neat company. And again, it's a very typical e-commerce experience. Which we all go through, and especially as we go into Black Friday and the holiday season, I'm sure we're all going to go through some more. So those are my thoughts about Super Trellis and my Super Trellis experience. You heard Jay ask for my feedback on some different things there. So I'm hopeful that those of you out there that are listening or watching, that you picked up some information and some insights into how to make your website better, how to make your business effective, and all of those things around that. Jay, any extra thoughts on Super Trellis?
Nope. Can't wait to see him
we're gonna start. It's really hard to do this. We're gonna start like right in here.
Yeah.
We gotta get it across the top here to catch the sun, and then you can actually see where the sun is in like down here,
Yeah.
right? So I'm gonna definitely do something down there as well. So we're gonna definitely get it on the wall. It should look really nice. Fingers crossed. It actually is. I did get the update. It is coming. So I am supposed to get it tomorrow.
There you
so
go.
We'll get some feedback on whether or not I actually get it on the 23rd instead of it got one date only. The only once I got into UPS, I was checking it like every 6 hours of like, I'm so excited. Where's my trellis? And so eventually I went in there and it was updated to like, it's actually on the way here.
Yeah.
And that's when I found that it was coming from Buffalo, and it's like, it's going to be there on the 23rd. So
nice.
So I'm super excited for it. And I'm going to try to at least get a little bit of it up this weekend. So next time folks tune in, you'll see e-commerce product in full display. You will have caught the whole cycle of it.
There you go.
Yeah, and so that's our general discussion. Thanks, Super Trellis. I know you didn't have any choice but to be a part of this, but I appreciate it all the same. I'm excited for your product, and I think yours was a good story to incorporate into our conversation today. So thank you for participating against your will, or maybe with your will. Who knows? Anyway, Jay, obviously it's Friday afternoon. It's 5:00 somewhere. Not here, but there. What's going on? What do you got going on this weekend?
So there's not much going on next week. Only Thanksgiving and Black Friday. So got to get the backyard ready because we usually do Thanksgiving on the pool deck. So got to get that all cleaned. We had it about a month ago, hurricaned, and so we got to get it all cleaned off and get all that stuff off of it, and not the stuff, but all the dirt and all the sand and all that jazz.
Yeah.
And
sure.
I have a paver pad that is sagging, and I'm not exactly sure why. So I'm going to take some pavers up tomorrow and reset them, and hopefully not screw it up.
Yeah, hopefully not.
So
You're going to
get
use
that done.
sand.com or something to get a sandbag, or are we going to get another story
Uh,
about some other e-commerce experience
I'm
next week?
probably going to go to Lowe's for that, or maybe
There
Ace
you go.
Hardware. And
Well,
I need to get a bag of fill sand, but I'm
yep.
probably going to fill it in with some small pebbles or
Yeah, okay.
some
Yeah, sure.
pebble gravel, maybe,
Yeah.
and just to get them equalized and
Yep. Totally understand.
figure out why that happened. I mean, I'm hoping, I'm, I'm really hoping there isn't a sprinkler head under there that they forgot to cap off or something. I don't think there is, because I think it would have happened a long time ago.
Yeah.
But gonna get that fixed, and at that point, hopefully Sunday relax a bit.
There you
It's
go.
been a couple weeks without NASCAR, and my Sunday been pretty lonely.
Is this just number 2? Yeah.
Yeah.
They do this other thing that I think is really popular on Sunday. I don't know. I haven't watched that much, but I've heard a lot about it. It's called the NFL, I think.
NFL.
They play football. They play football or something, I think.
Oh.
What I hear is it runs from like basically 1 to like 10 or 11 p.m. or something like that.
Yeah.
Is like a lot of
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I actually watched my first football game in a while.
Yeah.
Last weekend actually, because my wife went to bed early on Sunday night. She was a little worn out. We'd had a pretty busy weekend, and so I sat down and watched the second half of the Chargers Bengals game.
Yeah, nice.
For the first,
I-
basically the first one I watched in a while.
I did see some highlights from last night's Steelers Browns game.
Also watched about the
I
last like 5
love
minutes
snow
of that game.
games, and one of my favorite games
Good
was a Thanksgiving snow game with Dallas and Miami.
Oh
And,
yeah,
I'd love to see a snow game this coming
Yeah.
Thursday, but we'll watch the Cowboys and probably have them lose another game.
yeah.
Sorry, Jason. My buddy Jason is an avid. Well, he's a Florida State fan and he is a Cowboys fan, and he is not doing too
Yeah,
well.
having a tough year.
So yeah,
He's having a
really
tough year.
So yeah, But,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, well,
that's it for me.
I know
right
I'm
there.
not. I know I'm not doing anything this weekend either. So probably not really doing all that much. My wife is going to dinner with some girlfriends tonight, so me and the baby are
Nice.
gonna hang out. We're gonna do daddy baby time, and then that's probably about it. No
That's
no
always good.
cul-de-sac adventures like we've had the past couple weekends. So
Yeah.
nothing like that this weekend, at least that I'm aware of. But we'll see. Maybe that will happen organically in the next 12 to 24 hours. We'll guess we'll find out.
There you go.
But Jay, what did we make a decision, or are we gonna come live on Wednesday? We're gonna record on Wednesday and post on Friday.
I think we will. Yeah. It's gonna
Come
be
live on
crazy
Wednesday.
here because they'll be in full on kitchen prep outside
Prep
the
mode.
door. But you know what?
So maybe
I will need to vacate. So yeah, I think it's a good.
yeah.
idea.
There you go. All right. So
So
we'll see you guys
Wednesday,
on
4
Wednesday.
o'clock Eastern.
4 o'clock Eastern time.
All right.
Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you for listening to On the Rocks, the e-commerce hour. I
great
am
weekend,
Chris.
everybody.
He's still Jay. We'll catch you on Wednesday.
See y'all. Bye.
Bye, everybody.